Yo, yo.
We are live.
What's up, y'all?
We are live.
The All-Star version.
A little bit delayed, like Jalen Green's dunk attempts last night. We'll talk about that.
I think he's still
a little bit.
Right
Legend Hedges. He's still in the arena trying to throw it off the backboard. But welcome to another episode of Under Construction. I'm Kaiser Sose. This is the Angry Black Fan, Jamal Darby.
What up, y'all?
It is the NBA All-Star break.
Yes.
Thank God the Charlotte Hornets have limped.
Who needs the All-Star break more, the players or the fans?
Depends on what team you are a fan of, because you're a Hornets fan.
We need a break just like they do, man.
I was like, damn, I need the All-Star break.
I need a mental vacation from the Hornets right now.
Definitely. Rough week for the Hornets. They only played 2 games before the break. We played the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota, in which we lost in overtime, 126-120.
The Minnesota Cats.
Yes. And then, the Minnesota Towns. And then we played the Miami Heat at home, in which we lost in double overtime, 111-107, which we will talk about that game. Yep. We will talk about that game. Both these games were disappointing losses. I think I had picked them to beat the Timberwolves and lose to the Heat. So, I didn't pick them to beat the Heat, so it's like I can't get that mad. But the way that they lost makes it.
It's a slap in the face.
Is an absolute slap in the face. So let's go back to the 15th Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, man. Karl-Anthony Towns, man. Hey, look, we said it before we came on. There's a difference between stars and superstars. And my man Karl-Anthony Towns played like a superstar that game. We'll go into more analysis, man. But to keep this short and simple, he took over in the fourth quarter and overtime, man. Right. And listen, when he's sitting and when he's draining all these threes in our face, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, everybody just learns how to shoot when they play the Hornets. But the guy goes out and wins the 3-point contest last night. I was like, okay, well, I feel like
hey, he got some practice.
He got some practice against us.
Yeah, and he got warmed up because he had been shooting fairly poorly from behind the arc up until then.
Can I say something? Maybe a little hot take-ish. I don't think the Hornets were prepared for that.
No, I don't think so either. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give him that shot.
I mean, if you got to pick.
Right, I'm going to let Karl. I know he's I'm the best big man shooter ever, although, Dirk Nowitzki he just disappeared. Just phased out of existence. Right. But, I mean, he can shoot the three, won a 3-point shooting contest. So, having said that, though, if I got Karl-Anthony Towns at the top of the key, which you don't want to double him that high, I'm not going to let him get past me. You're going to have to make that shot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like he was taking they weren't good shots he was taking. He was covered. He was just coming down court, pulling up from 30 feet and draining it.
I mean, if I'm a guard and I'm switched on Karl-Anthony Towns and Karl-Anthony Towns at the 3-point line, man, like you said, dude, that to me, that's not the biggest threat on the court at the time.
No.
In hindsight, of course it was, but if I got to pick, man, I'm going to guard the lane. I'm not going to worry about Karl-Anthony Towns, but he proved it wasn't the right thing to do. So, what's really disappointing about this game? Going back to the first game against the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell mentioned how, we're a better team than the Hornets. They shouldn't have beat us, blah, blah, blah. And we didn't even lose because of him. He went 5 for 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really wanted to beat them because of that quote from him directly, and he wasn't even the reason we lost.
I mean, to be honest, the Hornets played pretty well.
It wasn't a bad play game.
Up until the end of the game, okay, for instance, Karl-Anthony Towns was 0 for 8 from 3 before he hit his first one. He finished 4 of 11.
That's crazy, man.
That
kind of stuff only happens.
I'm sorry, he was 1 for 8.
Right.
So he ended up hitting his last 3-pointers, which ended up essentially being the game. That was the story of the game.
Right.
But if you look at just the box score, there was Karl-Anthony Towns and there were a few other people. Jalen McDaniels' brother, put up a really good performance. 18 points in 37 minutes plus 7. He went 7 for 14. But, looking at the Hornets box score, first of all, Miles Bridges, 28 points, 13 rebounds.
Right.
Way to waste.
Seven assists.
Yeah. Mason Plumlee, 14 and 17.
And 9.
That's right. We forgot. He almost had a triple-double.
Yep.
If you are saying that you thought Mason Plumlee against Karl Anthony Towns is going to have a damn near...
You're lying.
You're a liar.
Yes.
You're a liar.
Is it just me, or has Mason Plumlee been playing better since?
So much better since Montrezl Harrell's
been here.
And they play well on the floor together.
Which I did not see coming at all. I don't think anybody saw that coming at all. Man.
Yeah. Very, very surprising there. Plumlee has... Which sucks because we're always like, man, we need Plumlee to play better.
And then when he plays
better,
we're still dropping games. But now we're dropping games for different reasons now.
Yeah, so I can take losing because Karl Anthony Towns
drains all these threes.
Turned on the superstar switch.
Right.
I can take because that's gonna happen. Unfortunately, the Charlotte Hornets, we don't have that. We don't have anyone. We got some guys that are close. Miles Bridges is close. LaMelo Ball can hit big shots. Right. He's close,
but he's not there yet.
Right. We've seen Terry Rozier do it, but we don't have a guy that we can say, okay,
take over the game.
We need a bucket. Here's the ball.
We don't have a DeMar DeRozan. We don't have a Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, we don't have a Jimmy Butler. We don't have any of those guys yet.
Yeah.
So next season, someone's going to make that big step, and we'll have that guy. But that was the difference in the Minnesota.
But I would tell you something that was very, very frustrating in the Timberwolves game. Aside from the obvious, the Karl Anthony Towns thing was the obvious thing. But there are two things that stick out to me with this Timberwolves game. Number one, we could not grab a damn rebound when it counted. Mason Plumlee had 17. Bridges had 13, but none of them were grabbing the rebounds when they mattered in the fourth quarter. They got every loose ball. They got every 50-50 ball. They got every offensive rebound. I'm sorry.
Yep. To your point, the Hornets actually out-rebounded the Minnesota Timberwolves by 68-50 or 62-58. But the ones that we needed late in the game,
didn't grab them.
We could not get. And that's, a lot of people are wondering what's up with the Hornets' late game collapses of late. This is the difference, is that other teams, they're out hustling. They're getting the play they need, the bucket that they need, the rebound that they need, and the Hornets are not.
So now that we're here, I kind of want your take on this, man. So this is kind of a precursor to the next game because the next game was very similar, but we'll get to that later. Another thing I don't like with these late game situations is like we're going what I call bonehead. We're going straight bonehead in the fourth quarter. We forget about offense. I've set offense. The ball doesn't move as much. There's too much ISO. These late game situations, we really look like a young team, man. What's your take on that, man?
Yeah.
Because you know what somebody's going to say.
All right, it's JB's fault. This is surprising to me because we didn't see this last season, actually.
Right.
The last season, the Hornets were great in late game situations.
Point, man.
They were one of the best teams in the league last season in the last 5 minutes.
Right.
So I don't know what it is. I think a part of it is a little bit of overconfidence. The Hornets still feel like they can still do the things they were doing last season.
Right.
And
so you mean like irrational confidence?
Yeah.
I
mean, for instance, I love Kelly Oubre. I really, really do. I think he was a great pickup, and I hope that he continues his success with the team. But late game is not the time to be heat checking.
Right. Or pulling up from 38.
I wouldn't even take a three-pointer unless it was wide open, but we've seen him shoot contested threes late when we don't need a three-pointer.
Yeah.
I think stuff like that is – plus, this is something that the Borrego haters gloss over. But the first part of the season, the first half, the Hornets were the best offensive team in the league. They were the best offensive team in the league. They were number one in assists, number one in transition points, number one in three-point shooting.
And also pretty efficient.
Yes.
That's very key.
So now I think they still feel like we're that team.
Right.
The shots are going to fall. They're going to fall. And a lot of people are saying, well, the Hornets have to, that's not going to work. They've got to do something different. But it's very hard to say, okay, we're going to completely stop doing what got you here.
But not only that, man, but we got to talk about skill set. I mean, if you're talking about doing something different, you're going against players' actual skill set. That's not easy. Correct. Okay, so you say let's do something different. What's different? You're gonna ask Miles Bridges to start pulling up from mid range? That's not his game. You're gonna ask Jay Rozier to start driving to the basket more. That's not his game. He's catch and shoot. What are we really saying when we say do something different?
You cannot in the middle of the season just change your style of play.
It's not realistic.
You can't. I know some people will say, well, as the season grinds on, as we get into the playoffs, teams will change their style of play. That is not true. They do not change their style of play. They will make adjustments. They will slow the pace of the game down. But the Miami Heat play that way. They've been playing that way
all the time.
The entire season.
They've been playing that way for 10 years.
3 years, yeah. So the Hornets just have to make small adjustments late game.
Look, man. Hey, look. Here's dead horse time. See the dead horse? He's back there. He's bleeding. He's dead. He's not coming back. Look, man. Nobody wants to give credence to how important Gordon Hayward's injury is to this team, man. Nobody wants to. He makes $30 million. He's always hurt. I wouldn't have paid him 30. Blah 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 blah. How many times we got to see these late game collapses before we finally give credence to the guy who calms the offense down, the guy who's going to at least get you a good shot. At least.
He makes the adult decision.
The adult on the floor.
There was a game. I don't recall who it was against. We ended up losing it. It was a close game.
Right.
And I'll never forget, Gordon Hayward took a foul line extended shot late in the game.
Yeah, and everybody lost their mind.
They were down 2.
Right.
And he just missed a shot. It was like a 15-foot jump shot. He had the space. He just missed it. And the Hornets ended up losing. Everyone blamed it on him.
Right.
I would kill for somebody to take that shot
because it doesn't look like the offense is laboring. Like every possession in the fourth quarter, it's like shots get harder. You know what I mean? Like it's just more of a labor for some reason in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. Teams aren't they're not giving the Hornets what we want. And the Hornets need to find a way to take what the defense gives them. And like you said, it comes down to skill set. Gordon Hayward's going to make that shot 60+% of the time.
Right.
Who else on the team is going to make a mid-range shot? Get the 2 that we need. There was a point in the Miami game. Miami needed 2. Jimmy Butler came down, shot that same shot, foul line extended, got us 2 points, and they went and played defense.
You know what, Kaiser, we offer a lot of analysis. We give people stats and we give these breakdowns and all this good stuff. But sometimes, man, the NBA is about who makes shots and who doesn't.
Yep.
We'll get to this the next game, but there was one guy who simply made shots when it mattered. We didn't. And then we could throw out all the numbers and stuff we want to, but sometimes it simply comes down to that. And with the recent struggles of the Charlotte Hornets, it kind of accumulates to that. The other team makes shots when it matters. We don't.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns did. We didn't.
It's
coaching doesn't fix that, people. I'm sorry. Like there's no coaching. A coach can't channel his inner thoughts to say, please go make a shot. It doesn't work like that.
No. He goes out and he tells Kelly Oubre, you're going to shoot that ball.
Every time.
Even if we don't need it.
Even if it's 2 people on you, shoot the ball.
Just shoot the ball.
Irrational confidence, man. Hey, man, question. What's up with PJ Washington? What is your take on Mr. PJ Washington?
He only had 3 points in 33 minutes.
4 steals in the block and 8 rebounds. It's a weird stat line.
I think that the addition of Harrell hasn't actually been good for him. He was struggling before that.
Right.
But now JB really likes the Mason Plumlee, Montrezl Harrell lineup. You can tell he really likes it because it allows him to play with going small, but then you can sub Plumlee out if you want to go completely small, and then you have Harrell at the 5, who is a much better 5 than PJ Washington is, and so Washington's role is changing a little bit. I'd like to see him not settle for being a catch and shoot guy.
Yeah. But you know what? So here's the thing with PJ. You don't want him being catch and shoot, but I also don't want him being a playmaker because he gets in trouble when he tries to take people off the dribble. Like every time he tries to do something with the ball, it's like I cringe a little bit because it's like, don't turn the ball.
So it's hard to know. Remember, last season before, where a lot of people were like, PJ Washington and Miles Bridges are the same guy. The Hornets gonna have to make a decision about.
I never bought into that.
But now we see the difference. One of the knocks on Miles Bridges' game was always that he could not create his own shot.
Right.
Well, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
If Miles Bridges wants to put his head down, he'd be knocking dudes over, whatever he got to do.
Whatever got to do to get to the basket.
PJ Washington has not developed that skill, and he may not because that's not really the role that the Hornets need him in. So I don't know. It puts him in a very tight spot right now.
Look,
as far as
man,
rotations go.
I look here's me playing 2K GM, but I believe this wholeheartedly, man. Mitch has to go out and get another point guard. I'm not saying go swing for the fences. Kemba Walker's a pipe dream. I will love it, but that's a pipe dream. But if not another point guard, we need another playmaker desperately, in my opinion.
You know what? I think a big difference was late games last season. We had Devontae Graham. So you had LaMelo Ball and Devontae Graham.
Right.
And, you know, LaMelo was still a rookie late games. He'd have Devontae at the point and Terry Rozier as a catch and shoot guy. We don't have that.
We don't have that.
Now, although we had it some with Ish Smith, and think about all the games. There were games that, like, literally Ish Smith won for us.
Right.
Like literally one for us, and now we don't have that anymore. And we've seen Rozier playing the point a lot more,
which I'm not a fan of.
I'm not a fan of. I mean, he can do it.
But
I think, you know, this is his third season here. I think he likes his role as a primary scorer, catch and shoot kind of guy. I don't think he likes running the offense. And a lot of times we see when the ball is in his hands, that's where it is. That's where it stays.
That's where it sticks.
Right. So the Hornets are, I think that also has a big reason to do why we're having trouble closing out these late games. I don't think Kemba Walker is all that much of a pipe dream. And as Paul said, Goran Dragic is now available. Either of those guys.
I'll take either of those guys.
Either of those guys. You can buy. There's talk about Kemba Walker contract being bought out in New York. You jump on if I'm Mitch, you jump.
I don't even blink, man. I'm sorry.
You jump on that. But
look, for all of Kemba Walker's defensive efficiencies, Ish Smith had the same ones. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, think about it. Kemba Walker coming off the bench playing 15 minutes a game.
Dude, what more can you ask for out of a backup point guard?
Yeah.
And look, and guys, you know, I don't want to belabor this too much, man, but we don't want to make this a Cam Newton situation where it's like, oh my God, the glory days are back. You know what I'm saying? Like Kemba's gonna be the all-star, and no. Realistic expectations, 15 minutes a game, more so of a mentor to LaMelo Ball, another playmaker on the court if needed. You can either play LaMelo and Kim at the same time like you used to do Tony Parker and Kim, you know what I'm saying? So we just want to manage expectations if that comes to fruition, man.
All right, so let's talk about the game.
Before we do that, I want to build a bridge from the Timberwolves game to the Heat game. You know what that bridge is? Book Night, what the hell are you doing, man? James Book Night, what is wrong with you?
Talk about not making the most of. Okay, so
let me please let me start this off.
Since you're the UConn
I'm the UConn guy, so let me start this off. So I'm at home watching UConn and Xavier, very exciting game, you know. And there's a stoppage, and the referee's like signaling, "Hey, get out!" Like pointing to the get out. Lo and behold, it is James Bouknight and another former UConn player. I forget his name right now. And apparently, James Bouknight was kicked out for being on his cell phone on the floor, which the camera did not catch, to be fair. Like, I didn't see it for myself because the camera was not on Bouknight at the moment. But apparently, he's on the floor while the game is going on his cell phone. Now, look, people out there might be like, no big deal, whatever. Nobody got injured. Whatever. The principle of this situation is, what did I tell you about James Bouknight on draft night?
I was going to say, when we had that draft show, you said that he had maturity issues. And so far...
So let's cuss out the coach, okay? Let's fall out with your coach. Let's just go on the damn floor on my cell phone.
Let's punch a wall and
injure your wrist.
Yeah. Y'all think that's... Magical wrist injury appears the next day.
You know when everybody started doing the red flags thing on Facebook?
Yes.
Those are starting to go off a little bit, man.
And I know to some people it may seem like what happened at the UConn game was nothing. And to be fair,
It might have been nothing.
And if it had been anybody else,
we wouldn't have cared.
It wouldn't have cared.
Nobody cared.
The problem is that when you start seeing a pattern of behavior, like, I get it. You a big time NBA dude now. You want to go back and flex
a little bit.
Hey
guys, I'm James Book.
Right, yeah. This used to be my school. I used to run this joint. You know, you sitting courtside with your homie, your
former teammate.
Yeah, I get it, but you cannot
respect.
Yes.
Respect the game.
Yes.
Respect the game. That's my last 3 words on that issue. So
James Bouknight did not play against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He wasn't a scratch. He wasn't on the injury report.
Right. He was a healthy
scratch. He just did not play, which I thought was a little bit perplexing. And this was before what happened at UConn, but I don't doubt that there is some. I don't think the locker room's lost or anything like everyone says, but there's probably a little tension between coach
and Bouknight
because the coach is like, look, man, I'm giving you a chance here,
and you're kind of blowing it. Yeah. And you're kind of blowing it on your own. Yes. There's nobody to blame for punching your wrist and doing all this other stuff, man. That's not Borrego, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never find out what was said on the sidelines that day. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said before, unless JB called you a jigaboo or something, then there's no reason to be bucking up on your coach.
But listen, man, like fair or unfair, wrist injury aside, he's not producing when he's in the game, dude, and that's your chance.
So to that point, he did play against the Miami Heat, but he only played 7 minutes, and that was because he racked up 2 quick fouls and left the game.
And was never seen again. In that game. Yep.
7 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, and a rebound. He was plus 14, which just goes to show how meaningless that stat can be sometimes.
Right.
But the Miami Heat game, boy. Okay, so
blood pressure pills anywhere. Anybody?
I've said before, and we've said on the show, I try not to blame the refs because I understand that.
Let me interrupt you. How many times we gotta say that on this show? I'm gonna leave it there. But go ahead.
I don't blame the refs for wins and losses. I understand that refereeing is an inexact thing. They're not gonna get every call right. And sometimes
the game is fast paced.
And they're just this obstacle that teams have to navigate throughout the course of the game. However, I can no longer be convinced, and I've said this many times, the NBA refs are not on the take. They're either on the take or they are heavily, heavily biased, and they allow that bias to influence the game. I don't think you could watch the Miami Heat game objectively and not think that. The 2-minute report.
You mean the pamphlet?
Right, yeah, the novel.
The novel.
So, you guys know the 2-minute report. The NBA reviews the last 2 minutes and overtime of every game in the league, and they look at every call, particularly the more controversial calls,
right,
and they determine whether it was the correct call or the correct no call. And then that's it. Nothing ever happens. Normally, it'll be like 3 or 4 calls, and one will be for one team, and the other will be for the other team, and it's like whatever. There were 7?
There were 7.
7 calls.
All against the Hornets. 7 incorrect calls.
All against the Hornets.
Let us repeat. This is not for the entire game.
No, yeah.
This is a 2-minute report.
This is the last. Well, this is plus in the 2 overtime.
In the overtime.
But here's the thing.
Still.
There never should have been an overtime because
that part.
Because Kyle Lowry, who suddenly decided to be like Larry Bird against the Charlotte Hornets.
I have a question. If Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are watching this show, I have a question for both of them. Why couldn't y'all do this against LeBron a few years ago? I digress.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, yeah. But he hits a 3-pointer. Okay, it was a contested 3. LaMelo Ball was actually playing pretty good on-ball defense on him. And Kyle Lowry pulled up. And I thought it was obvious he was inside the line. It didn't even look like he was behind the line.
Right.
But it was a lot of players in the area.
Yeah.
So I get it. And he hit it. And I remember Eric Collins was like, oh, that's a long 2. But then, the score changed, and they were going to give him a 3. And the scorekeepers awarded him a 3.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought per NBA rules, every 3 was to be reviewed.
So that's what I thought, but apparently that is not the case.
Okay.
Apparently the case is that the next stoppage of play,
gotcha,
the referees, if there is doubt, can review a 3-point shot. Now,
the referees
later said, and this was before the 2-minute report came out, but after the game, said that they said 2 things. One, that the stoppage of the clock was too far ahead. It had happened too long for them to review it.
Is that in the rule book? That's what I want to know.
Right, yeah.
It was really so there's a statute of limitations on how long you can.
And then he said something which I feel like is contradictory to the first statement, that there wasn't any reason for them, or they didn't at the time see any reason to doubt that it was a 3-point shot, which, okay, fair enough. The game is fast-paced. It was a lot of players in the area. Maybe you didn't doubt it, but you just said that you couldn't have stopped the clock because it took too long.
Which one is it?
Did you think it was a 3 and you didn't see any reason to doubt it, or you just didn't review it because the clock didn't stop or in time? Regardless, just a terrible error because it ended up allowing the game to go into overtime. The Hornets should have won by 1 point, and people are going to say, well, Montrezl should have hit the second free throw. LaMelo Ball should have hit the technical free throw. I'm sorry, that was the Minnesota game.
Yeah,
he should have hit that one. But the thing is it shouldn't have come to that, because the Hornets played defense well enough for them to only give up 2 and not 3, and should have been rewarded for that. The referees literally rewarded the Miami Heat a point that they did not deserve, and ended up being the difference in the game. Also, maybe I'm old. I'm in my 40s, y'all. So my eyesight's not as good as it was. But when I saw Bam Adebayo block LaMelo Ball's shot, I immediately said, "That's a goaltend." That's a
goaltend. That's the first thing.
That was the most
obvious. That's the obvious one.
Patrick Ewing, Georgetown.
Yeah,
remember that game in 1984? Where he was purposely goaltending stuff. That's what it looked like to me. I was like, yo, that's obviously a goaltender.
It's so funny because the missed free throw is the focal point. But that was the most obvious one.
That was, too obvious. Yeah, to me, the 3-pointer, I thought it was obvious, but I'm watching on TV. And then the goaltend, which on the 2-minute report stated should have been a goaltend.
And Jimmy Butler also got away with a walk in the fourth quarter too, which is on that same report. It's not just me talking, y'all. It's on the 2-minute report.
Also, when you couple that with the fact that every judgment call
never goes our way,
especially against the Heat. Kyle Lowry has never committed a foul, by the way.
Never in his life, never in his career.
So in the Miami Heat, part of their defense is they're going to interrupt your driving lanes. They're going to get a lot of charges, and I really hate the charge rule. I feel like that it's almost too swayed for the defender. It used to be you had to beat your guy to the spot and you couldn't be moving. Now you can kind of be moving.
You can have one shoulder in there.
As long as you beat your guy to the spot, you give your hands are up.
Which is a little surprising, being that the NBA has obviously geared the calling has geared more towards the offense. So that's a little surprising.
Well, I do think they wanted to tone down the amount of offensive players essentially generating contact to get to the line. And maybe the charger, I haven't looked at the stats this season on offensive fouls and charges.
So somebody's going to accuse us of blaming the refs too much. So we got to talk about basketball, I guess, because
here's the thing. I didn't pick the Hornets to win that game. I figured they would lose because the Miami Heat are clearly a better team, even though some people are like, well, once I saw Tyler Hero didn't play, really, Tyler Hero is the difference between a 9th seed and a 1 seed? No, he's not. So even with him out, I thought, they got Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo.
Don't tell Heat fans that. They love him some Tyler
Hero. No, don't get me wrong.
He's a good player.
Tyler Hero is a great player, and he will probably and deservedly win the 6th Man of the Year award. But
I think Kelly Oubre literally has shot himself out of that award.
Oh yeah, he has. But I didn't think Tyler Hero is not the reason that the Heat are better than the Hornets.
Right.
Like solely. Right. I mean, they're a better coach team, and y'all know I love Borrego, but Eric Spoelstra,
he's a savant.
He's a savant. great
he's
coach.
He's a savant, man.
They have Bam Adebayo. They have Jimmy Butler, of course. They're just a better team. So I didn't pick them to win that game. So I'm not too mad that in a basketball sense that they lost the game. I just feel like they got cheated out of a game in which they played as hard as they could against a better team, and they deserve to win.
Yeah. And you know what, man? Like, it's more. What stings even more is you do a pretty good job on Bam Adebayo. You know, he 15 points in 44 minutes. You can't ask for much more than that. You know what I mean? As far as containing Adebayo, but you don't stop everybody else. Kyle Lowry turns into 2008 Kyle Lowry. Jimmy Butler was 0 for 7 from 3-point land up until he hit the one. Up until he hit the one in overtime.
Now, I can't – there's nothing I can do. I can say about a fluke shot. Like, I mean, that's just Jimmy Butler. Remember when he played for Philly? The Kemba Walker game, dropped.
Dwayne Bacon played perfect defense.
And he
shot a three.
He just shot a three at the end of the game and won the game. That's just how it goes sometimes.
What did I just say 10 minutes ago? We can do all the analysis we want.
I mean, I'll say this. The Hornets did not shoot well from 3-point range again. They only shot 23%, but no one shoots well.
And we only scored 33 points in the second half.
They were only out-rebounded by 2, which is weird. You would think the Hornets are like the worst rebounding team in the league, but they're actually middle of the pack. I will say this is very odd. Miles Plumlee only played 14 minutes, whereas Montrezl Harrell played 43. Now,
I have an explanation for you.
He had a great game. He had 24 points, 9 rebounds. And especially considering Montrezl Harrell is not really a big rebounder. Yeah. But he played very, very well. But I expected to see more of the Plumlee-Harrell rotation.
But I'll tell you why we didn't see it, man. This is something I noticed about Plumlee in this particular game. Now, we've given Plumlee his props over the last week or two because, like we said, he has played better overall since Harrell has been there. But that game in particular, he really struggled defensively, man. And I noticed that. And I noticed that's why he wasn't getting as many minutes this particular game. I think Borrego kind of recognized that very early. Plumlee just had a terrible matchup for whatever reason because he actually did a pretty decent job on Adebayo the last game he played. But this go around, it wasn't that good of a go around, man. So I totally get why he only played 14 minutes this game.
Kelly Oubre actually played decent. 15 points. He didn't shoot well, but he played pretty good defense. He was +7.
You know what? It was a Kelly Oubre game because he hit 4 threes in a row, and that was it.
He went 4 for 12 from threes. 1 for 4 from the 3 free throw line, which is I want to talk about free throw shooting in a little bit.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges played 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Yeah, even if he had been invited to the dunk contest,
I wouldn't even want to.
50 minutes, 29 points. 11 rebounds, his second straight double-double. He only shot 3 for 10 from the 3-point line, but he went 10 for 21 from the field. Monster game from him that ended up kind of being wasted.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier, boy, he got
disappearing act.
5 points, 2 for 9, 1 for 5 from 3.
I got a question, man. Minutes. Look, I don't have the exact stats. I don't even remember Terry Rozier taking a shot in the fourth quarter overtime. I don't even remember him shooting the ball at all. It was a total disappearing act.
I wonder if his confidence – I mean, who would ever think that Terry Rozier's confidence is lacking? But maybe that's what it is. Or it could – Miles was very ball dominant.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Rozier was just kind of deferring to him because he
and remember, LaMelo fouled out too. So after LaMelo fouled out, he had to take over ball handling.
How many games in a row, LaMelo?
I've lost count. He almost fouled out in the damn Rise of Stars game. So yeah, but I digress once again.
Speaking of LaMelo, his fans in YouTube will look at his stat line.
No, Kaza. Be careful how you say this. We're his fans. We all love LaMelo Ball.
I love LaMelo Ball.
No, we all should love LaMelo Ball. Make sure you say this correctly, dog.
Yes.
His stance. Yes.
We'll look at his stat line and say, whoa, he had a triple-double and was +1. He was the only starter that had a positive box plus-minus. He was also 5 for 15, 1 for 9 from 3, and he missed a pretty crucial late-game free throw, which he's been doing a lot lately, which makes me wonder.
Look, but to be fair, he ain't the only one.
That's true. Yeah. Miles Bridges, you can get some of the smoke too.
Harold too.
But 14, and 10, that's like a Russell Westbrook line. You know how Russell Westbrook be having these triple doubles that don't mean anything?
He'll go 5 for 30, but he'll have a triple double. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This was that kind of game. I mean, LaMelo can impact the game whenever he's in it. But I felt like if he had played a little bit better, I mean, you trying to tell me that Kyle Lowry is a good defender, but is he like that?
He can't stay in front of LaMelo.
I don't think he can stay in front of LaMelo.
Not at this stage of his career.
And now a lot of Heat fans checking the YouTube comments were saying that that's why they won, because LaMelo Ball plays poorly against the Heat because of Kyle Lowry, which is kind of true, actually. I don't know if it's because of Kyle Lowry. He doesn't play well against the Heat.
Look, I have one word when it comes to that: physicality. I don't think LaMelo can handle Kyle Lowry's physicality.
That's true.
Kyle Lowry is a bulldog. He is a very physical point guard.
He's shorter in stature, but I think physically he's probably stronger than LaMelo.
But that's young point guard. I don't want to make it a LaMelo thing. That's young point guard stuff. LaMelo is not fully even there physically yet. You get what I'm saying? So
when LaMelo gets his NBA body,
it's gonna be game over. It's gonna be it's MVP time.
Right?
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, just you had these great performances from Miles and Montrez. Just I think just a game that was marred by the incompetent refereeing. And here's the thing. The 2-minute report validates any complaints about the refereeing.
Right. So people out there be like, "Oh man, y'all were blaming the refs too." It's right there.
Even the NBA said, "Damn." Hey,
sorry, y'all. Yeah. We got y'all. Sorry.
And here's another thing. A lot of people are saying that James Bregel should have called a timeout.
That's trash.
No. You know how many times the NBA, or at least just in Hornets games, I've seen when they've overturned a 2 or 3 without there being a stoppage in play.
They do that all the time.
Yes, it happens all the time. And I don't even think Borrego realized that, because from his side of the court, first of all, he couldn't have seen it. So what probably happened is someone from the replay center, the Hornet, our replay guys, probably said, "Hey, we think that might have been a 2-pointer."
And they let gameplay go on, and then by the time they realized it was a 3, they was like, "Oh well,
yes,
whatever."
So I'm not going to blame Borrego, and his statement was that's about as close as James Borrego is ever going to get to talking shit about the refs.
I told you, man. He said just enough to not get fined.
Fine, yes. He said that's their job.
He said that. He said it a lot more calmly than I would have.
Yeah. Man. So I can only hope, and even Borrego said, "Hey, the 2-minute report is going to come out, and we're just going to move on. Nothing's going to happen."
Right.
And that's true.
Unfortunately, that's true.
That's going to happen. But if I'm chairman,
if you're
greatest player of all time,
CEO,
right? My logo is on every NBA uniform in the league.
Excuse me, receptionist. I need you to draft up a letter real quick.
Right.
Please address it to Adam Silver.
Put Adam Silver on line. Let me holler at you. You know what this is? I'm making a phone call.
But I mean, not to sound like a broken record, aside from referee stuff, it's the same thing in the fourth quarter and overtime, man. This offense gets really stagnant, and it's one-on-one time. And it's like, on one hand, I appreciate, because my homeboy Travis Kearns, if you're still watching, I want you to chime in, because I have a friend of mine. He said he's sick of Miles Bridges right now. So, and I say, why? Why are you tired of all the people on the team?
I can't give Miles really any.
But here's where I understand a little bit, just a tad bit. Now, I'm not totally on that side, but a tad bit. Shot selection. But at the same time, Miles Bridges ain't the only one taking bad shots. It's everybody.
So here's the thing with Miles Bridges. He actually, a lot of times, he will take the smart shot where he tries to drive to the basket.
Right.
Sometimes it works out for him. Sometimes
it
doesn't.
Yeah.
I can't give Miles any smoke only because he seems like the only person who really wants to win. Like he's taking this personal. Like I can tell.
He's a competitor.
We saw last year in the Rising Stars game. Remember, it was just kind of like people's, the Rising Stars game was just people,
like whatever. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Miles was like, hold up, no.
Yeah.
And he took the game over and won the Rising Stars.
But you know what? I actually think LaMelo is the same way. I really do. But I think he just goes about it the wrong way a lot because he's such a young player.
Plus, he's not. I don't think LaMelo might be the most unique personality on the team. But I don't think he's the strongest personality in the
not at all. No. Miles and Terry.
Exactly, Miles and Terry.
Yeah.
So I think LaMelo at times kind of follows their lead.
But you know what you need when you have those three strong personalities? You know what you need? You need balance. You know who used to provide that balance? Mr. Gordon Hayward, who's not with us right now.
This is all coaching. The coach has to line everybody up and say, all right, everyone.
I'm your father.
Right, yeah. LaMelo Ball is the guy. You're the next guy.
I'm not your coach. I'm your daddy.
You're the next guy. All right?
Oh, man.
All right. After the All-Star break, the schedule is a mix of ugliness.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's just an ugly schedule. It's not like overly difficult, but it's not like it's going to be hard to pick these games. So,
especially with the Hornets, the Hornets are always hard to pick, man.
So we'll do the next 4. I know there's going to be another episode of Under Construction since then, but because they won't play again until you see us again, until that Sunday night, next Sunday. So Toronto, Friday the 25th. Detroit, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. The Milwaukee game is a nationally televised game on NBA TV. Now, we seem to have Milwaukee's number. I don't want to jinx us on that. But for some reason, they can't beat us. I don't know why.
Can't explain that one.
Yep. And for some reason, we can't beat Toronto, which is weird because we had their number for so many years. Toronto just couldn't beat us. Now, we cannot beat a weakened version of Toronto. Detroit, if we lose that game, I'm retiring from watching basketball forever.
Hey, look, I'm going to say something I know I'm going to regret, man. If we lose to Detroit, look, the Borrego haters, hey, look, I won't argue against you.
Nope,
I won't argue, y'all.
You cannot lose that game.
You can't lose.
And here's the thing. Hornets might lose it.
You never know.
Because the last time we played Detroit, now granted, we blew them out by 800 points. But remember, the first part of the game was fairly competitive. And the Hornets got a little sloppy because they're like, it's the Pistons.
But you know what? But oddly enough with Detroit, I mean, as terrible as they are, I kind of don't ask me why I pay attention, but they've stayed competitive with a lot of good teams before, so they will surprise you sometimes. Yes. So the Hornets can't go in there just expecting to win just because. You know what I mean? I
think we win one of these games we shouldn't against Toronto, Milwaukee, Cleveland. We win one. We win Detroit. And we split.
Listen. Out of these 4 games, I'm gonna tell you which one I want to win the most. I want to beat Cleveland the most. I'm sick of losing to them.
Yeah.
And never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
Here's another thing to realize is we did make a midseason trade for the first time in like ever.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some. I'm not going to say there's a chemistry issue,
but there's adjustments to make.
Exactly. I think the chemistry is great. I think Harold loves. He's like, man, I should have come here 2 years ago.
Even with the struggles, he still seems happy.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but like I said, you still got to figure out what the best rotations are. You got to find out what situations do you want him on the court? Right. Do you need him on the court?
We're not even 2 weeks into this thing with
whose minutes? Someone's going to have to give up minutes.
But to make that even more complicated, you're going to have guys coming back, too. Cody Martin and Jaden McDaniels are probably going to be back. Yeah.
Gordon Hayward probably won't be back directly. Who
knows? We don't know.
But yeah, a lot of adjustments that need to be made here. And I think our prediction, let's see, Rodney said 500 exactly.
Yeah. I said 43 wins.
Yeah, I said 43 wins. So we're right around then.
Yeah.
There. I think they're going to be a playing team. I don't think they get that 6th seed, especially with what has happened between Brooklyn and Philly. Those 2 teams are going to get much better very, very quickly.
Yep.
That trade worked out for everyone. All right.
You got a prediction on it? on the next 4?
Oh, yeah, 2-2. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think we beat Detroit and we win against, I'm going to say Toronto.
Okay.
I think we lose to Cleveland.
I'm going to go 2-2 as well. I think we beat Detroit and I think we beat Cleveland. And I'm probably just saying that because I just really want to beat Cleveland, honestly.
I think Milwaukee, because we're playing at Milwaukee on NBA TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we split with them. We're 1-1 or 2-1 against Milwaukee.
2-1. Yep.
Yes. Yep. And all those games have been really good, close
competitive
games.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yep. All right. So, very special week in the NBA weekend.
Man. Yeah.
NBA All-Star weekend. And it's trash. It's terrible. I'm just gonna say
so bad.
I'm just gonna say it. It's not good.
I don't want to talk about these people city, but
so Friday night, I'm not gonna talk about Cleveland because I say this. They're representing as well as there's a little too much of like Cleveland's players are being very represented well, and I understand they had 2 All-Stars, but like in like stuff like the Rising Stars Challenge and the skills challenge, like Team Cleveland, like 3 guys nobody knows. Like, who are these guys?
They're going a little too far with it.
Right. Yeah. So, but having said that, I mean, they seem to be doing a pretty good job as far as they can, as far as the city goes. But I think that the events are terrible. I will say, I liked the Rising Stars format.
I love that format. They need to keep that.
But I feel like the quality of the game, the Rising Stars game, has declined because it's a bunch of Jalen McDaniels out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, okay, come down, ISO, shoot the 3. That was the game.
So look, man, we were messaging each other during that game, and LaMelo was the only one out there trying to play like a real game.
Real game. He passed it to someone, and they act like they ain't know. Like,
hey, I got something funny, man. So Rick Barry was one of the coaches for the team that won. Which I find hilarious because if you know Rick Barry's personality, for anybody who knows who Rick Barry is, Rick Barry is fundamental, play the game the right way guy. And it's just funny that they picked him to coach a Rising Stars game. But they won. You know why they won? Because they were the closest team to play real basketball.
They were passing, ball movement.
They ran a set play, and that was hilarious to me, dude.
We weren't running. Dean Payton wasn't running set plays. And it was a fun game. And at one point, LaMelo Ball got subbed out, which.
Oh my God, you can't do that.
I didn't go on YouTube to see what they were saying about Gary Payton.
Gary Payton might have ruined his chances of coaching the NBA.
But it's important to note LaMelo Ball's playing in the adults game. So I actually expected him to get. I'm actually kind of glad his team lost. Yeah. So that okay.
We don't need to overextend.
Yeah, you good. Yeah, you good. You're gonna get your.
I don't need to see you win the MVP of the Rising Stars game.
You're gonna get your 8 minutes in the All-Star game, and then you be ready to take on Toronto on the 25th. So we're good on that. But I just do think it was funny that LaMelo was like the only one playing actual basketball. It's almost like having a coach that teaches.
Never mind. No, that can't be possible. No, that can't be possible.
I'm wrong.
Can't be possible.
By the way, Eric Spoelstra, man, he was gushing about LaMelo Ball.
I saw that.
Eric Spoelstra is the coach of the Team Durant.
Yeah.
And he just talked about LaMelo at length during a press conference. It's almost like
I don't know how I feel about that because come contract time, I don't want you tampering. No,
stay over there, bro.
Stay right over there, damn it. No,
no. LaMelo is good here until the Hornets decide
he ain't good here.
He's not good here anymore. Yeah. So they're gonna, to the people who don't understand, LaMelo gonna be playing with LA in 2 years. First of all, club option. That's another year.
Team option. Yep.
Yeah, team option. Restricted free agency.
Yep.
That's another.
That's a lot of hurdles.
At least 4 years, and then will be the time for his big cut. So that's like another 5 years from now before LaMelo Ball can decide.
One last thing, because I don't want to belabor this because we are talking about All-Star Weekend, but I want one last thing when it comes to that. Mitch Kupchak has got to be under a big old microscope in these next 3 to 4 seasons because it's going to be crunch time as far as building something real around LaMelo.
He's got to, and we've said it before. If year 7,
if we're not there yet, then
if we're not competitive, I'm talking like championship contender.
And LaMelo wants to leave, you can't blame him.
Yes, I feel like he should leave.
Yep. So that's it. All right.
All-Star weekend. Yep. Rising Stars game. It was cool. Yeah.
It was cool. I give it a B.
Yeah, I like the format.
Yeah.
Skills challenge.
They could do away with the skills challenge as far as I'm concerned.
First,
I never liked it.
Here's the biggest problem with the All-Star events. It's not the events themselves. It's who's in them.
It's who's in the events.
Remember the All-Star, when we were kids, the All-Star weekend, every event had All-Stars in it?
Yeah.
The dunk contest, the 3-point shootout had All-Stars in it.
Right.
Now, it's like
just some guys.
It's some dudes.
It's Juan Toscano Anderson dunking.
Yes.
Who's a good player, but he ain't.
So, the skills challenge, the event is not the problem. I want to see star NBA players in these events.
Look, this is hilarious, and this kind of means nothing, but I remember, I'm someone, I usually really look forward to All-Star Weekend because I just love the spectacle of it all. The spectacle, it's showtime, it's under bright lights. I love the entire spectacle of the All-Star game. I used to even watch the damn celebrity game. The damn celebrity game wasn't even good this year.
It was so trash.
Number one, I was like, who are half of these people? I don't even know half of these. I'm old and I'm grumpy, I get it, but I don't know half these people.
I think Machine Gun Kelly was the only one that I was like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
But I look back to years ago, when Kevin Hart was in Celebrity Game, and like you said, when they were real all-stars in the dunk contest and stuff, man. It feels like people didn't get up for Cleveland. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Well, I mean, because there's nobody to get excited about. Cleveland, the crowd in Cleveland, which honestly, because it's an all-star event, probably didn't have that many people from Cleveland actually there.
Right.
They got excited for their guys, but I mean, it's take the 3-point shootout, which over the last 20 years is, in my opinion, the premier event, not the dunk contest, even though the NBA doesn't market it that way. But the 3-point shootout. Yeah, Trae Young, which everyone wanted to see.
Trae Young.
Karl Anthony Towns.
And outside of that, who's
Luke Kennard? Anybody really want to see Luke Kennard shoot threes?
Who shot the ball well?
He did. I thought he was going to win.
But it's not the same.
Anyone want to see Desmond Bane out there?
Look, old grumpy guy. Here's old 90s grumpy guy. It damn sure ain't the same as having Larry Bird and Dale Ellis and
Craig Hodges
and Mark Price.
Well, although Craig Hodges wasn't an all-star, but he could shoot.
Really shoot the ball. Right. But you get what I'm saying.
Right, yeah. I mean, in my opinion, Steph Curry should just be in every 3-point shootout until they die.
Right.
After they retire.
It should be mandatory. Steph and Clay is in every 3-point contest.
Seth.
Right. And Seth.
I mean,
yeah.
Why? And here's the thing. The reason that those players don't want to do these, because there's no incentive for them to do so.
Right. They want their rest.
Yes, they want to rest and unwind from basketball, have a good time, enjoy the weekend. There has to be a bigger incentive more than pride, which is what it used to be like.
Yeah.
The reason Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan came back for the 1988
because they were competitive. They wanted to really beat each other.
They were like, no, that was BS what happened last year. I want a rematch. We don't get that anymore, except for Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just
whatever. So, look, man, speaking of dunk contests, we talked about this before we went on air today. Dude, listen, I know we were not the only two who thought this. Y'all, look, if y'all are out there, please chime in. Me and Kaiser could not have been the only two people that said, what the hell is Cole Anthony doing? Why is Cole Anthony in the dunk contest?
Now, I'm a big Tar Heels fan.
I respect him as a basketball player.
Exactly.
He's a great young basketball player.
I love him when he played for UNC. I think he's doing a great job. They really hit on that pick. I think he's doing a really, really good job. But when I think dunk contest,
he's one of he doesn't even register.
I would have never in a million years, because I didn't see the dunk contest roster.
Right.
I just turned it on and
I saw the roster.
It was Cole Anthony. I'm like, Cole Anthony.
I saw the roster maybe about a month ago, and I was just like, this is not going to go anywhere.
Okay.
let me tell you what I'm more disappointed in the Cole Anthony being in the doggone. I'm disappointed in Obi Toppin because Obi Toppin. You know what's funny? Obi Toppin has better in-game dunks than he had in the damn dunk contest.
I feel like some guys. I think Miles Bridges may be kind of the same way, but you can still make incredible in-game style dunks in the dunk contest. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times guys get too hung up on trying to do these really complex kind of dunks.
They get too ambitious.
Yeah, and I think fans want to see more style with dunks. They want, man, some of you younger guys, go watch a Dominique Wilkins highlight video on YouTube. He dunked with such violence. And I'm not talking about dunk contests. I'm talking about in-game.
In-game.
Like,
in-game.
He wanted to, like, kill people when he dunked.
Sean Kemp the same way.
Yes. Like, that's what fans want to see in a dunk contest. Remember 1991 Charlotte? Larry Johnson,
Rex Chapman.
His dunks was mad simple, but
they were violent.
They were like people. He would have won if he hadn't missed that one dunk. I mean, Larry Johnson basic off the backboard, and
this big old football player, body looking 6'6" dude was just doing all these crazy
stuff like that. Because when you come out with the props, although the Timbs and wearing your dad's jersey, that was dope.
That was cool.
But first of all, you can barely get up in Jordans. You got Timbs.
No, when you say you Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony ain't like elbow height at the rim.
Dog, if you can't even have enough lift to pull off your dunks, why are you there?
Yeah,
and look, again, we respect Cole Anthony as a basketball player, y'all, but come on, man. Like,
and then another thing is, was there anyone that made a dunk on the first try?
No, not one.
So here's the problem. When I see what you are trying to do, even when you do it, the impact is gone.
Yeah, right.
Remember, so Vince Carter really broke the slam dunk contest.
He did.
And it's what's weird because a lot of you guys forget, the season before there was not a slam dunk contest because they had been so terrible.
Yeah.
The one that Kobe was in was terrible. The one that he won was just bad.
It was bad.
Because everyone felt like they had seen all the dunks. And then they said, okay, we're going to bring it back. And I remember I was sitting in my dorm room. I was stationed at Shaw Air Force Base. I was like, all right, I'm watching the dunk contest. And I turned it on. And Vince Carter, his very first dunk was a reverse 360 windmill. Dog, I about jumped off I was on the second floor of the barracks. I almost jumped off that bitch because I couldn't believe what I had seen.
Listen.
And every dunk after that was more amazing than the one before that.
But to your point, you know why those dunks were made? Not just because of the athleticism. You know why? Because he was violent too.
Yes.
He was a perfect combination of grace and athleticism and violence.
He just did, like, every dunk was so good and better than the other. And they weren't even like super complex dunks.
Right.
It was just he took, Vince Carter's very size, got super athletic, and he took advantage of that and broke the dunk contest.
And he didn't. And look, he didn't jump over any cars. He didn't put
a cupcake
on the damn rim. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He ain't wearing no different.
The dunk contest reminds me of now. You ever play? I was one of the NBA live games that had a dunk contest where you could do cartwheels and flips and shit. Nobody. Why are you doing that? And Jalen Green, we're gonna talk about Jalen Green real quick before we move on.
Dude,
just do a dunk.
Hey Jalen, hey, wrap it up, homie. Hey, wrap it up, man. Hey, come on. He's still trying
to dunk. They probably out there trying to do warm up shots, and he out there still.
Hey, you know, dude. When you're ball guy, when the guy who throws the ball, when he sucks. You have no shot.
They over there, they conversing in the corner about how to dog. What just throw the damn ball?
It looked like Jalen Green was cussing him out like, hey man, throw the damn ball right. You embarrassing me on TV, man.
And you know what? I thought when I saw the roster, I thought, oh, Jalen Green might sneak up and win this. He's a really athletic dude.
I picked him. I picked Obi Toppin, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he won too.
And he just too complex. And then when you finally did it, the crowd was like,
we moved on.
Even Obi Toppin, the touch the backboard dog, you wasted 5 minutes trying to don't. What are you doing? I just I don't know. If the NBA said, "Look, we getting ready to dunk contest next season."
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind if they take a break. I don't want them to get rid of it altogether. I mean, because it's
they've done it before. They did it in 99, 2000. Just
take a year or two off.
Yeah, just
nothing wrong with that.
No, actually, what they need to do is increase the incentive for star players to compete. There has to be something besides a little trophy you get from Kia or Sprite or whatever.
But Kaza, grumpy old dude coming back again. You didn't need all this in the 90s. When the East and West played, you didn't need no incentive. You know what the incentive was?
Like,
look, for younger guys who were not around in the 90s, early 2000s, here's what you used to have in the All-Star games. The East and the West used to play each other. They wanted to beat each other.
Yes.
That first half might have been, okay, we just giving y'all a show. You know, we're not really serious this year. But by the time that fourth quarter came around, it's like, all right.
I think, you know what? Who has ruined All-Star Weekend? Us, the fans.
Explain.
Why? Because we don't give any credence to All-Star accolades.
Right. True.
We don't. Yeah. We'll say, oh, so what if Michael Jordan won the slam dunk trophy and LeBron didn't? It's just a slam dunk trophy.
It's just a slam dunk trophy.
It's an All-Star game MVP. No one plays defense. Nobody plays defense because none of the fans really give a crap about the game. When Kobe Bryant won all those All-Star MVPs, the trophy's named after him now, they was playing defense back then.
Speaking of Kobe Bryant, do you remember that All-Star game where it was Michael's last one, actually? This was Wizards Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson were on the floor together, and Michael hit a shot. And I'm going to tell you something a lot of people don't know because I have a source who was actually at the game, and he told me this, okay? Michael Jordan hits a big shot. The East is up at that point. Kobe Bryant comes down. I think he gets fouled, and he hits a free throw to send the game in overtime. Allen Iverson was walking off the floor and said, "Damn it, you just can't let it go." Meaning Kobe Bryant just could not let Michael Jordan walk off with a win. That's how competitive the All-Star games were back then, and we just don't get that now, man.
So I think a lot of people feel like the dunk contest, we should bring in guys. Well, the guys from the dunk leagues.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's a little gimmicky to me, man.
Here's the problem. Those guys, they're good basketball players, but they dunk. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, and they get what they do is they just practice their dunks.
Right.
And then so they're doing like 540s and all kinds of stuff that guys in the NBA. I'm sure if you said to Miles Bridges, "Hey man, take 2 weeks off and practice doing a 540," he can do it.
He ain't got time for that.
He ain't got time for that. Right. And so I don't want to see that. Also, this is NBA All-Star Weekend.
Professional. Highlight your players. I want to see N1 dudes out there.
Yeah. They have their own thing. I don't want to see them come.
I don't want to see Rutgers Park dudes out there. No.
Get NBA players, get NBA stars to compete in these events, and then I think they will be better.
Absolutely.
There has to be some way to incentivize money. Just give them money. Y'all got all the money in the world. NBA.
Give them money.
If you were like, "Yo, you get $1 million on the slam dunk contest,"
please.
You know how many
Miles,
PJ,
you can't even dunk like
Mason
that.
Plumlee, he like just reverse dunks all game. Just like there goes another reverse from Mason Plumlee.
You're gonna have people lined up to get that money.
Yeah, so do something.
Yeah, I agree.
Your predictions for tonight's game?
Team LeBron has a better roster. And that's all I got. So I'm picking team. And look, and I think since LeBron is closer to the end, he's
gonna play a good game.
I think he's good. Yeah.
If Durant was playing and Harden was playing, then maybe. But for those that didn't see the selection, the draft, they were picking like the most petty.
And they were laughing about it.
Because LeBron was trying to force Kevin Durant to pick James Harden because this was right after the trade had been announced.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, and Kevin Durant had like this deadpan. He was like trying to pretend like he was serious about it. LeBron was not. He knew what he was doing. So the quality of the teams got heavily skewed. Because Kevin Durant was
they're LeBron's favorite.
Right. Kevin Durant was trying to avoid picking James Harden, and unfortunately, LaMelo Ball is on Team Durant. And watch, he's gonna like miss a free throw, or he's not gonna get 28 minutes or something.
And there's going to be some BS,
the fans are gonna
needless controversy about it. It's
going to be ridiculous. Yeah. I hope LaMelo Ball just goes and has a good time.
Yeah.
I expect him to his first All-Star game. Yeah.
Fun show, man.
Do
those fancy behind the back passes.
Right. Do something crazy. Do some
cross somebody over.
No look alley-oop, something like that. He's going to be a lot like Kemba. Well, I don't think he'll be quite as timid as Kemba was his first.
Look, man, Kemba, the Charlotte All-Star game with Kim Bennett, man. Kim was like, Kemba, shoot the ball, man.
Do something.
Shoot the ball like you got MKG and Gerald Henderson on the team.
Call somebody over. Break somebody's ankle. Kemba was like, I'm letting everybody
else
chill. Yeah,
that's
it. I don't think LaMelo is that. LaMelo's gonna make sure his little 5 minutes or whatever he get. He gonna go out there. He's going to put on his best Jalen McDaniels impression. He's going to shoot it.
Go shoot that ball.
Shoot it, young man.
All right. One quick thing. I think my MVP sleeper, I'm not going to say he's my pick, but my MVP sleeper for the All-Star game is Ja Morant. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think he may turn it on for this event.
He's going to take a lot of shots as well.
And I have another prediction. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the guy who takes the All-Star game a little too seriously. Like, he's going to play hard the entire game. So he might win MVP too, man.
Yeah, Giannis is always good for MVP consideration because the way the game – okay, so the All-Star game is like dunks and threes.
Yeah.
That's it. So – that style of play fits people like Giannis who gonna go to the basket, get a lot of dunks. But yeah, I think Ja Morant is a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, we're about out of time, so we're gonna talk squeeze in my shout at plus culture segment. The Daytona 500 is today, which marks the beginning of the NASCAR regular season. There is a regular season and playoffs in NASCAR, which is, and it's also weird because a lot of people feel like the Daytona is like the big race, but it's I mean, it is a big race, but it's the beginning of the season. And for the first time in history, there are 4 teams owned by majority black owners. Let me make sure. I'm gonna make sure I get these names right.
Michael Jordan,
Floyd Mayweather, Brad Daugherty. Am I saying his name right? Daugherty. And who's this fourth owner?
Floyd, Brad, Michael.
There's a fourth. I'll get his name later. But anyway, this is the first time that 4 black-owned teams are competing in the Daytona 500. NASCAR, recognizing the importance of such an event, simply made a social media post about it.
That's it.
Said history in the making. 4 black team owners are competing in the Daytona 500.
And people lost their mind.
Oh my God. They mad.
Oh, they mad.
They mad.
Just the post.
Let me read some of the comments. There is only one race in NASCAR. That's the race to the finish line.
Oh boy. Oh
God. How witty.
How'd you come up with that
one? Let's see. Everyone loves racing and everyone should love each other the same way. Amen. Amen, brother.
Hey, amen.
Someone said give them a gold star, but Wendell Scott already has it. So here's another thing.
Wendell Scott was how long ago?
1963. Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive when Wendell Scott.
Michael Jordan was a baby.
Yes, when Wendell Scott won a NASCAR race. He was the first ever black driver to win a Cup Series race. Anyway, and that's like the one that NASCAR fans always go to. Whenever you're like, hey, a black person did something in NASCAR, people are like, Wendell Scott. It's like, bro,
oh, boy.
Tell me something else about Wendell Scott. Since you know so much about him, tell me something else. Here's what these people don't realize. Because the sentiment seems to be, okay, that's good, but why is NASCAR making it to be such a big deal?
Why are you pulling the race card?
Right. Here's why it's such a big deal. Black ownership is something that is rare in all sports. And particularly American professional sports. And NASCAR has sorely needed a perception change. Globally, NASCAR is a joke. I follow a lot of motorsports from F1 to GT racing to NASCAR. And outside of the United States, NASCAR is seen as a bunch of rednecks turning left in circles with a bunch of yee fans with Confederate flags in the stands. Now, whether that's true or not, NASCAR doesn't want that perception. You know why? Because people in the United States that are not part of that demographic will believe that, particularly. And
your sport can't grow.
It cannot, particularly black people, people of color. We feel alienated from NASCAR because. And
coincidentally, there are a lot of black people who actually really like NASCAR. My grandfather was one of those.
Yeah, people. I know a lot of black. I love NASCAR. Y'all can't see it. There's a damn racing simulator right here. I race NASCAR all the time. I love NASCAR, but I don't feel like it's not a sport that I could feel welcome in, regardless of whether that's the truth or not. You have to change that perception.
Hey, real quick, man. Here's a moment of transparency. I have always wanted to go to a NASCAR event. I am actually scared to go to a NASCAR event.
I mean, it's fun, especially if you like cars. All racing events are fun, but NASCAR races, if you go with people who are cool with, and to be fair, I've been to 3 races in my life, all in Charlotte. Oh, I did go to one at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But everyone I've met there has been cool. I didn't feel like I was going to get lynched or anything. But, there's always – you still don't feel like, okay, this is a sport for us, regardless of whether it is or not. So when you have black owners and then you put out there publicly, hey, look, we are trying to have some kind of diversity in our sport, that potentially brings people of color into having some kind of interest in your sport. I'm not saying that overnight all the black people are going to be like, finally, we can be NASCAR fans because Michael Jordan and Floyd Mayweather Jr. have a team. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that black people are going to see this and it's going to pique their interest. It is. Then they might say, okay, let me check out the race. Oh, man, this is fun or whatever. And you start to bring people into your core demographic. NASCAR needs that. A lot of people are failing to see that because.
And look, and I want to be very fair when it comes to this subject, man. Like I will give NASCAR a lot of credit because they have made a lot of strides to be more inclusive. It's actual stride, not what the NFL's doing. Not just talk.
Right.
Not just having a rapper as your faceplate. not just that. Some actual work has been done on account of NASCAR to be a lot more inclusive, man. So I want to make sure that's very clear to people.
Yeah, though, they was mad about Floyd Mayweather's face being. They real mad about Floyd Mayweather. About Floyd.
Brad Daugherty's okay.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan's even.
Michael Jordan.
He might be from North Carolina.
But Floyd, filthy rich records.
Boy.
Yeah, no, they
laying on money, Floyd.
Oh boy, cannot have that. So it's funny. There are more NASCAR Cup team owners, black Cup team owners, than there are black coaches in the NFL.
That's very telling. If that don't tell you something, I don't know what does. Wow. Ain't no more to say on that subject, man.
Yep.
Ain't no more to say on that.
You got any shout outs for this week?
I actually don't, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat room, man, chatting it up with us, man. Shout out to NBA All-Star Weekend, man. Y'all got to do better in that dunk contest, or just do away with it because that is bad for the product, dude. I love the NBA and I love All-Star Weekend, but you got to do something about the dunk contest, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Do something about. I would love to see dunk contests like how they used to be. I understand that a lot of people feel like the dunks have been seen before, but I like the players to care more about it and inject some athleticism into the dunk contest rather than.
I do actually have, unfortunately, a sad shout out. I just want to say rest in peace to my friend Derek Mack. Yeah, Derek Mack, man, very popular guy amongst Charlotte teens, and he was always doing hip-hop related events, man. He was one of the nicest, most helpful people anybody could have ever known. His funeral was yesterday. So rest in peace to my friend Derek Mack. Unfortunately, Outside of that, man, no shout outs or shout outs today, man. Shout out to Rodney, man. That's about it, bro.
Yes, shout out to Rodney, who is in Arizona
doing big things. Big things.
Big things.
That's the master plan. Rodney's gonna get real. He's gonna get real big, and he's just gonna hire us, and that's gonna be the way
I'll work for Rodney. I'll do that. Maybe we can all have a NASCAR team one day, and there'll still only be one black NFL coach when that happens. So, hey, y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the All-Star game. Let's go LaMelo Ball.
Peace out, y'all.
Never lost.
Never lost.
We lost to the Heat, though.
We lost to the Heat, though. And the referees.